The alien princess spotted me and told her friends that's my husband. He just does know yet Alex had never thought much about spaceports. To him, they were simply places to drop off parts, fix machines, and move on to the next task. Today, however, the enormous terminal at Zephyr Station felt different. The hum of engines, the chatter of travelers from countless planets, and the flashing lights reflecting off the polished metal floors made it almost dizzying. He shifted the small crate of components in his hands and carefully stepped around a hovering luggage drone that zipped past. Almost like a carnival, he muttered under his breath, adjusting the strap of his bag. He was here to deliver a high-precision flux regulator, a delicate piece for an experimental energy generator. Nothing fancy, nothing glamorous, just another day at work. As he navigated the crowd, Alex didn't notice the group of aliens standing nearby. They were tall, their skin shimmering with a subtle iridescence, dressed in flowing robes that seemed to float around them. One of them, with a graceful posture and eyes that seemed too bright to be real, was staring at him. She tilted her head slightly, whispering to the others, "That's my husband, he just doesn't know yet." The words were soft, meant only for her friends, but her gaze never wavered from Alex. Her name was Lyra, princess of the planet Scifi, a world famous for its lush crystal forests and rivers that glowed faintly under moonlight. She had been on Zephyr Station with her entourage for diplomatic talks, but at the moment, all her attention was on Alex. He, of course, was completely unaware. He continued weaving through the crowd, bumping slightly into a small service robot. The robot squeaked, spilling a few tools onto the floor. Alex bent down instinctively, picking them up. "Sorry about that," he muttered, not looking up yet. A soft laugh reached his ears. He looked up and finally met Lyra's gaze. She was smiling, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "You're quite clumsy," she said, her voice melodic, almost like a song. Alex blinked. Yeah, I guess. Sorry about your, friends." Lyra waved her hand dismissively. "No problem, it's interesting to see humans at work. You seem very focused." "Focused," Alex chuckled awkwardly. "I'm just trying not to get in trouble." He gestured to the spilled tools. "Apparently I failed already." Lyra's smile widened. "No. You succeeded in something more important. You caught my attention." Alex froze for a moment, unsure if he'd heard correctly. "Caught your attention?" She nodded lightly, then glanced at her friends, who were whispering and giggling behind her. "Yes, you are unusual." "Unusual?" Alex said, tilting his head. He wasn't sure if that was a compliment. "You have a way of seeing the world, not many do," she said softly. Then, with a small, almost imperceptible bow, she stepped back, letting him continue on his way. Alex, still unsure, shook his head. Must be tired, or maybe hallucinating from all these lights. He didn't know it yet, but this brief encounter had already started a chain of events that would change his life. The next hour was a blur of terminals, elevators, and narrow corridors. Alex had finally reached the small maintenance dock where the energy generator was located. He carefully placed the crate on the metal platform, removing the protective padding. Every piece inside was delicate and important, and Alex handled each one with meticulous care. "You must be Alex," a soft voice said behind him. He jumped slightly, turning around. Lyra was there, her elegant robes brushing the floor. Yeah, that's me," he said, trying not to stare at her unusual glowing eyes. "And you are?" "Lyra," she said, simply smiling. "I thought I might see more of your world." Alex frowned. "My world, you mean this station?" "Yes," she said, tilting her head. "I am curious." "Humans are unpredictable, but in a way that is fascinating." Alex scratched the back of his neck. "I guess that's one way to put it. I usually just fix stuff and go home." "Then let me watch you fix stuff," she said with a laugh. "It will be entertaining." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Entertaining? I'm not sure entertaining is the word anyone would use for wiring circuits and testing flux regulators." Lyra stepped closer, peering at the device in his hands. "For me, everything you do is entertaining. You have a method to your movements, and patience, that is rare." Alex felt heat rising to his cheeks. He wasn't used to compliments, especially from an alien princess who seemed to float effortlessly in front of him. "Well, thanks, I guess." Lyra's eyes sparkled even more, and she tilted her head. "You are charming even when you do not try. That is most unusual." Alex looked down, suddenly very aware of his hands covered in grease. "I don't know what to say to that." "Then say nothing," Lyra said, laughing softly. "I enjoy watching you anyway." Over the next few days, Lyra found ways to keep running into Alex. Sometimes it was coincidence, like when she appeared near the maintenance bay while he worked on a minor repair. Other times it was more deliberate, like arranging a meeting where Alex was asked to inspect a technical problem in her quarters. Every encounter was brief, but filled with small moments of humor and curiosity. Alex began noticing her more. He started recognizing the glint of her robes in a crowd, the light in her eyes when she laughed, and the way she seemed to float rather than walk. He still didn't understand why she was always nearby, but he didn't question it too much. There was something comforting about her presence. One afternoon, Alex was helping Lyra troubleshoot a malfunctioning holographic projector. As he adjusted the circuits, the device flickered and emitted a small puff of harmless smoke. "Ah!" Lyra jumped back, waving her hands. "Are you always this explosive?" Alex laughed, brushing his hands together. "I didn't mean to. I'm usually better than this." "You are better," she said softly. "You just like surprises, and surprises are delightful." Alex blinked. "Delightful, that's one word for it." Lyra's friends watched from the balcony, whispering and giggling. "She is clearly obsessed," one said, shaking their head with amusement. "That human does not even know what is happening." "It does not matter," another replied. "He will realize eventually." Alex, meanwhile, had no idea he was being observed and discussed like a rare specimen. He simply smiled at Lyra, feeling lighter than he had in years. As the sun set over Zephyr Station, casting golden reflections across the docking bays, Alex found himself walking alongside Lyra. They talked about Earth, about Scifi, about the oddities of space travel and the quirks of different alien cultures. Lyra laughed at Alex's stories of human inventions that never worked as intended, and Alex was fascinated by tales of glowing forests and floating cities. "You know," Lyra said after a moment, looking out at the horizon, "I think you might like it here. Or maybe you might belong here if you let yourself." Alex frowned slightly. "Belong? I don't even belong on my own planet half the time, and now this." "This is not so different," Lyra said, smiling warmly. "Home is where you feel right. And I think you will feel right here if you let yourself." Alex didn't answer immediately. He wasn't sure he understood, but something about her words stayed with him. As they parted ways that evening, Alex returned to his quarters, exhausted but strangely happy. He didn't know why he kept thinking about the princess with the sparkling eyes. He didn't know why he felt a small flutter of anticipation every time he saw her. He only knew one thing: life at Zephyr Station was no longer ordinary. And somewhere in the grand palace across the station, Lyra smiled to herself, knowing she had claimed something precious without Alex even realizing it. She whispered to her friends, "He doesn't know yet, but he will." The days ahead promised more coincidences, more laughter, and a slowly growing connection between two very different worlds. Alex's life, once predictable and dull, was about to become an adventure he never saw coming. And for Lyra, the adventure had already begun the moment she laid eyes on him. The stars outside twinkled like tiny promises, and for the first time Alex felt like maybe, just maybe, something extraordinary was waiting for him. Alex woke up to the soft hum of Zephyr Station's life systems, the same hum he had barely noticed a few days ago. Now every sound seemed sharper, brighter, almost alive. Maybe it was because he knew Lyra was somewhere in the station. Maybe it was because he couldn't stop thinking about the way she smiled yesterday, the way her eyes seemed to glow when she laughed. He shook his head. Ridiculous, a human engineer falling for an alien princess after 1 week? That was not normal. Still, when he got to the maintenance dock, his crate in hand, he half expected to see her waiting. And there she was. "Good morning, Alex," Lyra said, perched gracefully on the edge of a platform, her robes shifting like liquid light. "I see you are punctual." Alex swallowed, feeling a little caught. "Morning, yeah, punctual." "That's me." He dropped the crate and started unpacking the components, trying to act like he wasn't thinking about her presence. "I have been thinking," Lyra said, tilting her head, "about showing you more of Scifi. It is important to my people, and I think you would find it intriguing." Alex frowned. "Scifi, I don't know if I can just go there. I'm here for work, remember." "Work is temporary," she said, smiling. "Adventures are eternal." Alex stared at her, unsure whether she was teasing or serious. Lyra laughed softly at his expression, and the sound made him feel oddly at ease. He had no idea why. Over the next few hours, Lyra found little ways to keep him close. A misdelivered request for help, a minor glitch in the station's power grid that just happened near her quarters, and an invitation to help decorate a communal space for an upcoming festival. Each time, Alex thought it was coincidence, but he began to notice a pattern. Lyra seemed everywhere he went. "You're following me," he finally said one evening as he carried a bundle of wires into the control room. Lyra tilted her head innocently. "Following? No, I am simply nearby when you need assistance." Alex raised an eyebrow. "When I need assistance, I didn't ask for assistance. I'm fine on my own," she laughed softly. "You are competent, yes, but sometimes a second pair of eyes is helpful, and I enjoy seeing you work." Alex blinked. "Enjoy seeing me work?" "Yes," she said simply. "It is entertaining." Alex shook his head, laughing despite himself. "You're impossible." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Perhaps, but it seems you like it." He paused. "I don't know if I like it. I don't know what to think anymore." She smiled, a quiet, knowing smile. "Then do not think, just be." The next day, Alex found himself invited to the station's festival by one of Lyra's attendants. It was a celebration of the interstellar trade routes, with lights, music, and foods from countless worlds. Alex had never seen anything like it. He wandered through the colorful stalls, sampling alien delicacies and watching performers from distant planets, all while feeling like he was on a different world entirely. Lyra appeared suddenly, holding a tray of glowing fruit. "Try this," she said, offering him a piece. He bit into it and a burst of sweetness filled his mouth. "Wow, that's amazing." "I knew you would like it," she said, laughing. "Humans are predictable in some ways," Alex chuckled. "Predictable? I don't know about that." "You are," she said softly, "in ways I like." He felt heat rush to his cheeks and quickly looked away. Lyra's friends watched from a distance, whispering and giggling. "She has claimed him," one said. "Does he know?" another asked. "Not yet," the first replied. "That is the fun part." Alex, meanwhile, had no idea what they were saying. He only knew he wanted to spend more time with Lyra. The festival continued, and Lyra led him to a quiet courtyard away from the crowds. "This is one of my favorite places," she said. "The lights here remind me of home." Alex looked around, noticing the soft glow of luminescent plants and the gentle sound of water flowing through crystal streams. It was beautiful, almost magical. I've never seen anything like this," he admitted. Lyra smiled. "Then you are seeing the world through my eyes." "That is special." They sat together on a low bench, sharing stories. Alex told her about Earth, about small towns, tall cities, and the strange inventions humans made. Lyra shared stories of Scifi, of crystal forests, floating cities, and rivers that glowed in moonlight. "You make your world sound alive," Alex said, genuinely amazed. "And you make your world sound interesting," Lyra replied. "Most humans do not see it that way. You are unusual." Alex laughed softly. "I think that's the nicest thing anyone said to me in a long time." Lyra reached out and lightly touched his hand, just enough for him to feel it. "Then you should hear it more often," she said, smiling. Alex's heart raced. He didn't know why, but it felt right. Somehow, despite the strangeness, he felt like he belonged here. The next few days were filled with small, amusing adventures. Lyra's friends continued their playful schemes, arranging coincidental meetings, playful challenges, and minor puzzles for Alex to solve. One day, Alex found himself helping Lyra retrieve a runaway hoverdisk that had accidentally floated into the palace gardens. As he balanced on a narrow ledge, reaching for it, Lyra appeared beside him, laughing. "You're braver than you look," she said. Alex grinned. "Or perhaps just clumsier than I seem." "You are both," she replied, "but that is why I like watching you." Alex shook his head, laughing despite himself. "You're impossible." Lyra's smile was quiet but radiant. "Perhaps, but it seems you like it." Alex paused. "I don't know if I like it. I don't know what to think anymore." She laughed softly. "Then do not think, just be." One afternoon, Alex was called to assist with a technical issue in Lyra's quarters. As he arrived, he was greeted by a small entourage of her friends, who had arranged a mock inspection of the problem to make him stay longer. "You are always so helpful," Lyra said with a laugh. "I think humans could learn a lot from your patience." Alex smiled awkwardly. I just do what I can, that's all." "And yet you do it beautifully," Lyra said softly. He felt warmth rise to his cheeks, realizing he was no longer just performing a task, he was sharing a moment. Lyra's presence made everything feel lighter, brighter, somehow more important. As the day ended, they walked through the corridors together, talking quietly. Alex realized he was looking forward to seeing her every day, to the way she made even mundane tasks feel special. He didn't understand why, but he didn't question it. That evening, as Alex returned to his quarters, he found a small note slipped under his door. It was from Lyra, written in delicate script. "Meet me by the observation deck. I have something to show you." Curiosity piqued, Alex hurried to the deck. The view was breathtaking. Stars stretched infinitely in every direction, and the station glowed softly in the distance. Lyra was there, waiting, her robes shimmering under the starlight. "I wanted to show you this," she said, gesturing to the stars. "Sometimes it helps to see the bigger picture. Everything is connected." Alex looked around, feeling a strange sense of calm. "It's beautiful," he said. "Yes," Lyra replied, "and now you are part of it." Alex blinked. "Part of it," she smiled softly. "You will see in time." For the first time, Alex felt like he was no longer just a visitor, just someone passing through. He felt included. Like his presence mattered, like his small actions could ripple out and change the world in some tiny way. And maybe, just maybe, Lyra was the reason he felt that way. As they stood side by side, looking out at the infinite expanse of stars, Alex realized something strange. He didn't know what the future held. He didn't know why Lyra claimed him as her husband without telling him. But he did know one thing. Life at Zephyr Station had become unexpectedly wonderful, and he couldn't wait to see what came next. Somewhere deep in the palace, Lyra's friends whispered and giggled. "Soon," one said. "He will understand soon." And Alex, unaware of the playful plots swirling around him, simply smiled and turned to look at Lyra, feeling a quiet warmth spread through him. Something extraordinary was happening, and for the first time he didn't want it to stop. Alex was starting to feel at home on Zephyr Station. The once overwhelming crowds no longer made him nervous, and he even recognized a few familiar faces among the travelers and staff. Yet, no matter how accustomed he became, there was always that spark of surprise whenever Lyra appeared. Sometimes he would catch her out of the corner of his eye, or hear her laughter echoing down a corridor before he even saw her. He tried to tell himself it was coincidence. After all, it had to be. Right. That morning, Alex had been called to inspect a series of malfunctioning energy nodes along the station's observation deck. It was tedious work, involving long circuits and tiny adjustments. As he crouched over a glowing panel, muttering to himself about resistances and flux stabilizers, he heard the soft, musical voice behind him. "You are very focused today," Lyra said, tilting her head with a faint smile. Alex jumped slightly, twisting around. "Lyra. You're here again." "Of course," she said lightly, brushing past him to peer at the nodes. "I wanted to see your method. Humans work in curious ways, and your way is precise." Alex shook his head, laughing nervously. "Precise, maybe. Curious, definitely. But I'm just doing my job." "Your job is extraordinary," she said softly. "I have never seen such dedication." Alex felt his face warm. I guess I just like to fix things." Lyra reached out and lightly touched his shoulder. The contact was brief, but it sent an unexpected thrill through him. He cleared his throat. "Well, thank you, I suppose." Lyra smiled and stepped back. "You are welcome, Alex, but I think you are learning something more than circuits." "You are learning patience, focus, and perhaps joy." Alex blinked. "Joy from fixing wires?" "Yes," she said simply, "and from being observed by someone who cares." He looked at her, confused. "Cares?" Lyra only smiled and turned her attention to the nodes again. Alex shook his head, trying to push the thought aside. Later that day, Alex was invited to participate in the station's festival games, a series of lighthearted competitions designed to celebrate different planets and cultures. He was paired with Lyra for a team challenge, which involved navigating a small hoverpod through an obstacle course filled with floating rings and gentle, moving barriers. "You ready?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Alex grinned nervously. "I think so, but I'm warning you, I'm not exactly built for this." Lyra laughed. "Then I will make sure you succeed." The challenge began, and Alex found himself laughing and shouting as they maneuvered the pod together. Lyra's laughter was infectious, and even when he made mistakes, like overshooting a turn or nearly brushing against a barrier, she gently guided him, never scolding, only encouraging. "You are surprisingly good," she said after they successfully passed through the final ring. "I survived," Alex said with a mock bow, panting slightly. "That's all that matters." Lyra tilted her head and smiled warmly. "Surviving with joy is the same as winning." Alex laughed, realizing she was right. Somehow, being with Lyra made even small victories feel significant. That evening, as the festival lights flickered across the observation deck, Alex noticed a small group of Lyra's friends whispering and pointing in his direction. One of them, a tall alien with silver skin, seemed to be trying not to laugh. "You noticed them?" Lyra said softly, noticing his glance. Alex frowned. "Noticed what?" "They are amused," she said lightly. "You are claimed in a way, but you do not know it yet." Alex blinked. "Claimed? Wait, what do you mean?" Lyra's expression was calm, almost teasing. "It is nothing to worry about, just a fun tradition of my people. Sometimes we declare a bond before the other person realizes it." Alex's jaw dropped. "Bond? You mean like marriage?" Lyra laughed softly. "Marriage, yes, in a way, but it is not serious yet. It is more symbolic, a way to show connection and affection." Alex felt a strange mix of shock and embarrassment. "Wait, you claimed me without telling me?" Lyra tilted her head innocently. "You do not seem upset." I'm stunned," Alex admitted, scratching the back of his neck. "I didn't even know this was a thing." "It is," Lyra said simply, "but it is meant to be lighthearted, and you fit the part very well." Alex groaned softly. I don't even know how to respond." Lyra smiled, her eyes warm. "Then do not respond, just enjoy the moment." Over the next few days, Alex began noticing subtle signs of Lyra's claim. Her friends would arrange playful situations that forced him to spend time with her. Once, he was called to help repair a hover garden that had mysteriously malfunctioned right near her quarters. Another time, he accidentally got trapped in a maze of decorative panels during a festival rehearsal, only to be guided out by Lyra, who laughed at his confusion. Every situation was carefully orchestrated, but Alex remained oblivious to the full extent of the plan. He simply enjoyed spending time with her, laughing at her jokes, and marveling at the wonders of Scifi culture. One afternoon, while helping her arrange luminescent plants for a station celebration, Alex accidentally knocked over a small pot. Lyra bent down to help him pick it up, and their hands brushed. "Alex," she said softly, her eyes catching the light, "you are quite human." Alex laughed nervously. "I think that's a compliment." "It is," she said simply, "and it is why I like you." Alex's heart skipped a beat. "Like me?" Lyra nodded, smiling. "Yes, you are unusual, and I enjoy your presence." Alex looked down, unsure what to say. He had never been complimented like this, especially not by an alien princess who seemed so otherworldly and elegant. "Thank you," he finally whispered. "You are welcome," she replied, her hand lingering briefly before she straightened. That night, Alex returned to his quarters feeling a strange mix of excitement and confusion. He couldn't stop thinking about Lyra and the revelation of her claim. It was playful, she had said, but there was no denying the feeling it left behind. He felt noticed, special. And more than anything, he felt curious. The next morning, he found another note slipped under his door. This one read, "Meet me at the Central Gardens. I have something to show you." Alex hurried there, wondering what surprise awaited him. When he arrived, Lyra was standing by a shimmering fountain, her robes catching the sunlight in waves of color. "Good morning," she said, smiling. "I have arranged something for you today." Alex tilted his head. "Arranged something? What is it?" "You will see," she said, taking his hand and leading him along the winding paths of the garden. Soon, they arrived at a platform overlooking a small, artificial pond filled with glowing fish. Lyra motioned for Alex to sit. "This is one of my favorite places on the station," she said. "It is peaceful and full of life. I wanted you to see it." Alex watched the fish swim in elegant patterns, their light reflecting off the water. "It's beautiful," he said softly. Lyra smiled. "Just like this world." And just like moments shared with someone special. Alex's heart raced. "Moments shared with someone special?" "Yes," she said, her eyes meeting his. "You are special to me, Alex, and I think you may begin to feel the same, whether you realize it or not." Alex felt warmth spreading through him. He didn't fully understand what she meant, but he liked it. He liked her. He liked the way she made the world feel larger, brighter, and somehow more meaningful. As they sat together, watching the fish and the gentle glow of the garden, Alex realized something important. Life had become unpredictable, chaotic in a beautiful way, and he didn't want it any other way. He didn't know the full meaning of Lyra's claim yet, but he didn't care. For the first time, he allowed himself to imagine a future where this princess, the one who had claimed him in secret, was a part of his life. And maybe, just maybe, he could be a part of hers too. The stars above twinkled, casting soft reflections across the pond. Somewhere, Lyra's friends watched from a distance, whispering and giggling. "Soon," one said. "He will understand soon." And Alex, still unaware of the full truth, simply smiled and turned to Lyra, feeling a quiet excitement for the adventures yet to come. Alex woke early, as he had every day for the past week, though now mornings no longer felt like a chore. There was anticipation instead of routine. When he entered the maintenance bay, he half expected to find Lyra already waiting for him, and sure enough, she was there, seated on a platform with her robes glimmering under the soft morning lights. "Good morning, Alex," she said, smiling. "I hope you slept well." Alex scratched his neck awkwardly. "I did, I think. You?" "Always," she replied lightly, tilting her head. "Today I thought we might try something different." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Different?" "Yes," she said, her eyes sparkling. "An adventure. You will help me with a task that requires both human skill and Scifian ingenuity." Alex laughed softly. "Sounds serious." Lyra shook her head. "Not serious, fun, but important enough to matter." He couldn't help smiling. Somehow, whatever Lyra planned always felt like it would matter more than he expected. The task, as it turned out, involved retrieving a ceremonial artifact from a small section of Zephyr Station that had been closed for upgrades. The artifact was a delicate crystal orb used in Scifian festivals, and it had been accidentally locked away behind a security panel that no one could open. Alex bent over the panel, inspecting it carefully. Not too complicated, just tricky. I can get it open if we work together." Lyra clapped her hands lightly. "Excellent. I knew I chose well." Over the next hour, the two of them worked side by side, Alex's human engineering skill perfectly complementing Lyra's intimate knowledge of Scifian devices. Sparks of light glimmered around them as circuits connected and panels shifted. At one point, Alex accidentally pressed the wrong button, and the orb floated briefly in the air before settling back onto its pedestal. Lyra laughed softly. "You are unpredictable, but in a charming way." Alex blushed. "I try not to be." "You succeed anyway," she said, smiling warmly. When the orb was finally freed, it shimmered with a soft glow. Alex held it carefully, feeling a gentle hum of energy through his hands. "It's beautiful," he said. "Not as beautiful as it will look in the festival," Lyra replied softly, her eyes meeting his. Alex looked away quickly, feeling heat rush to his cheeks. He didn't know why her gaze affected him so strongly, but it did. Over the next few days, the bond between Alex and Lyra deepened. They spent more time together, not just fixing machines or retrieving artifacts, but exploring parts of the station that were normally off-limits. They wandered through gardens where the flowers glowed softly, visited observation decks that offered views of spinning galaxies, and even joined in minor festival preparations where Alex's practical skills were invaluable. Through it all, Lyra's claim of Alex as her husband remained unspoken directly to him, though her friends often whispered and giggled when they were near. Alex noticed the subtle hints, how Lyra would brush his hand, stand unusually close, or leave small gifts of alien fruit or trinkets at his workspace, but he still did not fully understand. One afternoon, as they carried a large bundle of decorative lanterns to the festival hall, Alex stumbled slightly on the edge of a platform. Lyra's hand shot out and caught his arm before he fell. "You're hopelessly clumsy sometimes," she said, laughing. "I'm careful," he protested, even as he laughed. "You are endearing," she said softly, "and that is why I enjoy your company." Alex froze, staring at her. "Enjoy my company?" "Yes," she said simply, "very much." Alex scratched his neck. I like spending time with you too." Lyra's eyes lit up, but she didn't say anything else. Instead, she continued carrying the lanterns, walking just a step ahead, letting him process his words. That evening, the festival officially began. Lights of all colors shimmered across Zephyr Station, holographic displays danced in the air, and the sound of laughter and music filled every corner. Alex found himself swept into the celebrations with Lyra, helping with minor tasks and joining in the playful games. At one point, a group of Lyra's friends nudged him toward a ceremonial platform. "Go on," one whispered. "It's part of the tradition." Alex frowned. "What tradition?" "Trust me," the friend said, giggling. "You'll see." Before Alex could react, Lyra took his hand and led him to the platform. "You are part of this," she said, her voice soft but confident, "and you will help make it special." Alex felt his face heat up. "Part of what exactly?" "You'll see," Lyra said, smiling. "Just trust me." And so he did. The ceremonial display involved releasing the crystal orb Alex had helped retrieve earlier. As it floated above the platform, glowing softly, Lyra whispered instructions, guiding him in activating the mechanism that sent the orb into a delicate arc across the hall. The audience gasped as the orb floated gracefully before settling into its final resting place with a soft shimmer. "You did it!" Lyra exclaimed, clapping her hands. "Perfectly!" Alex looked around, seeing the smiles and applause from aliens of all shapes and sizes. He felt a surge of pride, not just in completing the task, but in doing it with Lyra by his side. "You were amazing," she said, looking up at him. "I just followed instructions," he replied, grinning. "You were more than that," she said softly. "You brought skill, patience, and heart that is rare." Alex's cheeks flushed. "Heart?" "Yes," Lyra said simply, "and it is why I chose you." Alex froze. "Chose me?" Lyra tilted her head, her smile gentle. "You are the one I claimed. I did so in secret at first, but now it is clear to me, and perhaps soon it will be clear to you too." Alex's jaw dropped. "Claimed me as in husband?" Lyra nodded, her eyes warm. "Yes, but it is not meant to frighten you. It is a sign of affection, trust, and connection. Something I hope will grow over time." Alex blinked, feeling a strange mix of shock, embarrassment, and an unexpected warmth. I don't know what to say." "Then say nothing," Lyra said softly. "Just feel." And so Alex did. The rest of the evening was filled with gentle laughter, quiet moments, and small adventures. Alex and Lyra walked along the observation decks, watching the stars twinkle in patterns only visible from Zephyr Station. They shared stories, ideas, and dreams. Alex began to realize that being near Lyra made him see the universe differently. Every star seemed brighter, every sound more melodic, every small gesture more meaningful. At one point, Lyra paused, pointing to a cluster of distant planets. "Those are my favorite to watch," she said. "They remind me that even across distances, connections can form, and that connections are precious." Alex nodded slowly. "I think I understand." Lyra reached out, taking his hand gently. "Then perhaps you understand more than you realize." Alex's heart pounded. He didn't know the full implications of Lyra's claim, but he did know this. Being with her felt right, comfortable, exciting. Somehow perfectly natural despite the strangeness of it all. As the festival lights dimmed and the crowd began to disperse, Lyra and Alex remained together, quietly walking along the platforms, sharing soft laughter and glances. The bond between them had deepened, and Alex, for the first time, felt like he was truly part of something larger than himself. That night, as Alex returned to his quarters, he reflected on the day. The claim, the festival, the soft words, and the gentle touches, all of it had left an impression he could not ignore. He didn't yet understand what the future held, but he realized something important. He liked Lyra more than he could have imagined. And he felt deep in his chest a strange certainty that she liked him too. Somewhere in the palace across the station, Lyra's friends whispered and giggled. "He is beginning to understand," one said. "Yes," another replied, "and soon he will embrace it completely." Alex, still unaware of all the playful plotting around him, simply smiled as he drifted to sleep, thinking about the glowing orb, the festival lights, and the alien princess who had claimed him without his knowledge. Life had become unpredictable, wonderful, and full of quiet adventure, and he was ready for whatever came next. Alex woke to the soft hum of Zephyr Station, the familiar rhythm now feeling almost comforting. For the past few days, everything had changed, yet he hadn't fully realized it until now. Lyra's presence lingered in his thoughts, her laughter echoing in his mind, her eyes seeming to glow every time he remembered her words. He dressed quickly, eager to start the day. Today was different. Lyra had sent a note the night before, "Meet me at the Central Gardens. I have something important to share." Alex's heart raced as he made his way through the corridors. The gardens were quiet in the morning, with light streaming through the translucent ceiling, illuminating the glowing plants and gentle streams. Lyra was already there, standing near the largest fountain, her robes shimmering like liquid light. "Good morning, Alex," she said softly, smiling. "I am glad you came early." "I wouldn't miss it," Alex said, adjusting his bag. "You sounded important." Lyra laughed lightly. "It is important, but not in the way you think. Today you will understand something about us." Alex frowned slightly. "Us?" "Yes," she said, taking his hand. "I think it is time for you to fully understand the bond I claimed some time ago." Alex's heart skipped a beat. The word claimed made him nervous, but there was warmth in her voice, a gentle confidence that made him trust her. Lyra led him to a small platform overlooking the garden, where a delicate structure had been arranged. The crystal orb from the festival floated in the center, emitting a soft glow. Surrounding it were ribbons of light, looping gently through the air, forming intricate patterns. This, Lyra said, gesturing to the setup, is a Scifian declaration. It is playful, yes, but also meaningful. When I first saw you, I claimed you as my chosen partner, not to frighten you, but to show that you are special to me. Alex stared at her, trying to process her words. You claimed me, and this is how you tell me. Yes, she said softly. I did it at first in secret with my friends to see if your heart would respond, and it did. Even if you did not realize it at first, it did. Alex looked down, feeling warmth spread through him. He remembered every small gesture, every shared laugh, every time she had been nearby. It all suddenly made sense. You really mean it? He asked quietly. Lyra's eyes met his, unwavering. I do, and I think you feel it too. Alex swallowed, his mind racing. I think I do. I've been feeling it, but I didn't know how to say it or if it was even real. It is real, Lyra said softly, stepping closer, and now it is time to embrace it. Alex took a deep breath. Then I accept it. I accept us. Lyra's smile widened, and for the first time she seemed almost breathless with joy. You have made me very happy, Alex. And you've made me, well, this feels right, he admitted. The declaration did not go unnoticed. Lyra's friends, who had been quietly observing, clapped softly and cheered. Some of them whispered excitedly to each other, pleased that their playful schemes had finally worked. You are part of this world now, one of them said, smiling at Alex. Not just as a visitor, but as someone important. Alex laughed nervously, glancing at Lyra. I think I can get used to that. Lyra took his hand again, guiding him through the floating ribbons of light. Together, we will experience many things. You will learn more about my people, my world, and perhaps even yourself. Alex squeezed her hand gently. And I'll try to keep up. I might be human, but I've learned a lot already. You are better than you know, she said softly, and you are exactly what I hoped for. The festival that had begun days ago continued around them, but now Alex and Lyra moved together as a pair. Every interaction felt different, lighter, more meaningful, and somehow more intimate without being awkward. They helped children with simple games, shared stories with travelers from distant planets, and even danced briefly to the soft music that filled the gardens. Alex noticed how easily Lyra interacted with her friends, how her smile brightened their world, and how comfortable he felt just being near her. For the first time, he didn't feel like an outsider looking in. He felt part of something beautiful. At one point, Lyra led him to a small bridge overlooking a stream of glowing water. Do you see how everything flows together? She asked. The lights, the water, the people, everything is connected, and now you are part of that connection. Alex smiled softly, watching the gentle ripples. I think I understand. Being here with you, it feels like I finally belong somewhere. Lyra's eyes softened. Then stay, not just for now, but for as long as you wish. I would like that, Alex said quietly. As the day gave way to evening, the festival lights shimmered across Zephyr Station, painting the corridors with color. Alex and Lyra walked side by side, talking quietly. He realized that in every moment, from the smallest laugh to the quietest glance, he had been learning what it meant to care for someone, and to be cared for in return. Lyra paused near the observation deck, looking out at the stars. These stars, they remind me that the universe is vast, and yet connections can form anywhere with anyone. You are my connection, Alex. Alex felt a warmth spread through him, deeper than anything he had ever known. And you are mine, he said softly. For a moment they simply stood there, hands entwined, sharing the quiet wonder of the universe around them. No words were needed. Everything they had been feeling, every playful interaction, every shared smile led to this simple truth: they belonged together. The next morning, Alex found a small surprise waiting for him at his quarters. A delicate Scifian artifact, glowing softly, and a note from Lyra. For you to remember that you are chosen always. He held it carefully, feeling the warmth and light of her affection. It was a reminder that the claim she had made, playful at first but genuine in every way, was now a part of both their lives. He smiled, knowing that he had embraced something extraordinary. When he arrived at the maintenance bay, Lyra was already there, waiting with a bright smile. Good morning, husband, she said playfully. Alex blinked, then laughed, feeling a rush of joy. "Good morning, wife," he replied, shaking his head in disbelief at how natural it felt to say it. Lyra's laughter rang out, light and melodic. "It suits us, doesn't it?" "Yes," Alex said, smiling warmly. "It really does." Over the next days, Alex and Lyra explored Zephyr Station together, shared meals, solved small problems, and simply enjoyed each other's company. Every moment felt alive with possibility. He realized that life could be adventurous, joyful, and heartwarming, especially when shared with someone who truly cared for him. Lyra, in turn, found in Alex not only a partner in playful schemes and small adventures, but someone who understood her world and respected it. He had become more than she had hoped for. He had become her equal, her friend, and now her chosen companion. One evening, as they watched the glowing stars from the observation deck, Lyra rested her head on Alex's shoulder. "I am glad I claimed you," she whispered. "And I am glad I was claimed," he replied softly, wrapping an arm around her. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the universe stretch infinitely around them. For the first time, Alex felt completely at peace, completely understood, and completely at home. The universe was vast and unpredictable, but with Lyra by his side, every star seemed brighter, every sound more melodic, and every day full of quiet adventure and joy. Somewhere in the palace, Lyra's friends whispered and giggled one last time. "It is perfect," one said. "They truly belong together." "Yes," another replied. "And now the adventure really begins." Alex, unaware of the small whispers around them, held Lyra's hand and smiled, knowing that the extraordinary journey of life, love, and friendship had just begun. And for the first time, he knew without a doubt that being claimed by the alien princess had been the best thing that had ever happened to him.